Have you ever wondered how to get ahead in the data world? Maybe your first job, moving to leadership roles, or getting into your ideal company. How do some succeed where other fails to get to where they want to be? We're often told success is directly correlated to hard work, that we won't get ahead without working 100 hours a week. But what if that isn't the case? That the real trick to accomplishing your goals is identifying your strengths and advantages, and then applying those to maximum effect. So what makes a good data professional? Designing a great architecture? Creating bespoke visualizations? Solving leak code problems? Those are skills that can help, but everything really comes down to building things that are useful to others. If you can make sure you're doing that, you'll find success. But it isn't always easy. Sometimes you'll get stuck as a cog in the machine and your contributions aren't seen. Sometimes teams get stuck producing things that no one really cares about, and there's red tape that can just obscure the path to value. So how do successful people dodge these obstacles when others get stuck? There are some advantages you can gain through fair play. These are things that anyone can do to get ahead if they put in the effort. Hard work, studying, keeping on top of industry trends, persistence, practicing code, learning visual design. Anyone has an equal chance to do these things. YouTube's, blogs, free trials. There's tons of resources out there to develop technical skills if you just commit the time. And this is essential, but it's not enough. There are plenty of technically skilled people who work really hard, but find themselves struggling to get to where they want. This brings us to the unfair advantages that people have. Sometimes these are obvious, but everyone has some sort of strength or advantage that they can focus on to get ahead. And even if something appears to be a disadvantage, this can sometimes be turned into an advantage as well. And this is what successful people do. They focus on their strengths in their professional lives and avoid their weaknesses. Some of the common advantages are money. Obviously, having access to wealth can help somebody get ahead. And networking, investing in projects, and otherwise open doors that others don't have access to. Intelligence. While I'd say nearly every data professional is intelligent, we're talking about the top thinkers in the industry. Luck. Much of life comes down to being in the right place at the right time, but there's also things you can do to help your luck out. By getting involved in more things, talking to more people, and putting yourself out there, the odds of being in the right place at the right time significantly increase. Location. With the rise of remote work, this is leveling out, but in general, living in places like Silicon Valley, New York, or London has given tech people more options. But in other areas, there might be fewer options, but there's also less competition. So living in a non-tech area can make it easier to stand out and be one of the top data people in your local community. Education. I didn't go to a place like MIT, but I imagine it helps on the resume. This kind of education also goes along with money and intelligence, which is how advantages tend to stack. And while tech jobs are less degree-based than most, having one can only help. And not everyone has access to expensive higher education. But if you are self-taught, then master explaining your approach to learning and turn it into an advantage by proving your ability to quickly pick things up on your own. And status. The last advantage is just status. Already having top companies or organizations on the resume just helps you get into other ones. I think we've all seen people get opportunities they questionably deserve just because of some sort of status they have. So now that you're thinking about what your specific advantages are, how can you apply them in your career? Let's consider the traits that most managers look for in data professionals, which when coupled with your strengths can drive you towards success. The most common skill people hiring are looking for in data professionals is problem solving. Whether it's business problems that need analytical solutions or technical problems to support those analytical needs, there's a problem and people are needed to solve it. They'll look for people who are both practical and creative, like the ones who know what the standards are for how things are commonly done, but are able to innovate for specific problems. Another is being team-oriented and cooperative. Silos are a huge problem in the data world. Teams work on their own thing without regard to the organizational level. So data people who can work outside of their teams, see the bigger picture, and bring people into projects that others won't, will be appreciated by everybody. An underrated skill is patience. Hurry up and wait is an unfortunate reality of many of our projects. There can be a lot of moving pieces that rarely come together in a timely manner. And balancing patience with meeting timelines can be a difficult thing to do. It also takes patience to deal with counterparts who don't have much experience with data and analytics. Knowing how to ask the right questions and interpreting the responses is a skill that many people lack. Successful data professionals tend to have strong opinions held weakly, meaning you're willing and capable of stepping up and giving clear guidance on your area of expertise and making important decisions. But it's also willing to hear out arguments, alternatives, and new methods, and being adaptable to new tools and technology or coming up with creative solutions. And the last desirable trait is people with depth and breadth, meaning you have deep expertise in one area, but also some general knowledge of other data roles. This allows you to work better as a team, help out where needed, and just be more sympathetic with others. So if you're a data scientist, having some understanding of data pipelines and database operations is helpful. And I've seen some data engineers who feel like they're only coders and reporting or data presentation is beneath them, or they have no interest in understanding the business need. And that's a pretty surefire way to limit your career success. So it's easy to focus on our disadvantages, especially in the social media age, which only highlights others' accomplishments. And so we just keep grinding away at report building or coding. We don't appreciate the strengths that we do have that can give us a competitive edge. So it's good to take a step back, know the reality, and strategically leverage the advantages we do have. This topic is inspired by the book The Unfair Advantage. The link is down below if you want to check it out. And I previously broke down my personal experience getting into data careers in this video, so check that out if you want to learn from my mistakes.